We'll talk about it afterward. I'm gonna click go live. And we're
Let's get started. Let's get started.
All right, cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Studfit here, joined with you alongside my good friend Antilev for another episode of The Rundown. This time, Peach versus Bowser Tour, Part 2. Welcome, Antilev. How are you doing, man? Appreciate you.
I'm
Good, man. Awesome. Well, I know we've talked about this. This is might be the second to last rundown, but I'll be finishing the rundown series at the end of the year. And we'll be doing, we just finished up our very last Kart Talk. I definitely highly recommend going back and checking that out. We had Antilev, as you see here, alongside Sammy D of Kart Life. The three of us chatted for 2 hours about kind of the history. So we did a lot of reminiscing, but then also kind of just talking about what's that?
It was great.
It was great, man. I really enjoyed it. It's there's so many favorite episodes. I can't necessarily say like one over another. I know, Antilev, you've had a couple good episodes that you've been on. Appreciate you joining us. But yeah, ultimately wrapping up the content creation side of it and just kind of focusing my attention in 2024 on just the rest of my life that I have going on. But it was cool looking back and just seeing all the different places we recorded the rundown Kart Talk. We're talking like, New York City, Las Vegas, Charleston, a couple other places, Nebraska, Texas, Dallas, Texas, a couple tours ago on the rundown. So, or on Kart Life, Kart Talk. So anyway, long story short, it's been a great run. I love doing this. I love doing this series with you guys. One of the things even our CEO mentioned today on my business side was, you are what you think about. And I think just there's a lot of mental space I could have back instead of memorizing and rattling off all these carts and everything in this awesome game. It's been fun. I think just having this channel that revolves around meta, and when the meta stops from this loop mode, becomes a lot less eventful, a lot less to talk about. But I will say the reason that that I didn't stop last year, even though things started kind of to die down, first of all, was Larry 98 and Alberto, but then also everyone else on this screen, all the super studs, all the stud and non-stud and not a dud member. These are the guys and gals that help bring support, that kept the motivation going. Appreciate you guys. Absolutely love you guys. And honestly, that's why I've been here till kind of till the end, I guess, from this respect. But love you guys. Appreciate all your support, and couldn't do it without you. So thank you very much. And I hope I made you proud. Hopefully this was helpful information with you along the way. Got the live chat going on, so I'm going to do a couple shout outs before we get too far along into the episode. I see Chava Rita, Andy S. I see Alpha Dark Deadly. I see Alchemist, Johnson Yang, and Alberto. That's who I see so far right now, but again, I know everyone will be jumping in here. I see Bandit Guy as well. So I have the pop chatted out. I'll be keeping an eye on it as we go through this episode. And then at the very end, we'll announce what we got going on for the survey. So we got to about 50 responses from just this stud fam on nominations, and I'm going through those, about halfway done right now. We should have the survey available by tomorrow morning. This is, if you haven't seen, I highly recommend. I went back and watched the award ceremony. Highly recommend that, but we'll get to that at the end. But thanks again. I appreciate you guys, and let's jump into it. All right, so obviously, one of the resources we always want to talk about is the Daily Spotlight Shop. Now, of course, less eventful now that we're in loop mode. Every item you've seen should have been released prior to this tour, but there's some good information in there. Ultimately, my recommendation for anyone, and this is especially for those newer players who may not have any of these items, I would not buy any of these items for a second, third, fourth, etc. time, but this is really just to be able to get that first time and then use level tickets. It doesn't make sense from a Ruby perspective, optimization aspect, to be able to get these a second or third time. But if you're in a pinch, wouldn't hurt. I think our goal would be just recommend, take a look at the items that we're going to talk about here in the rest of year and allocate your rubies to get those items. Those items may or may not be on this list, but that's kind of we're already kind of talking about the meta and what to be focusing in on for year 5 and what's left of it. You can always apply that to the Daily Spotlight Shop. What's going on, Puffy? How are you doing? Appreciate all your help. All right, let's jump into the buffs. We got drivers with 4 buffs. We'll start with Gold Mario, Wiggler Me Racing Suit. Obviously, every single tour, we've been focusing in on Gold Mario. What tracks does he get? Is he overlapping with a Coinbox driver, or is he getting kind of some exclusive, plus skillish type of exclusivity there. And overall, I think this is a decent tour with him between Peach Gardens and Bowser's Castle 3T. Obviously, the Peach Gardens probably his best track. Obviously, it's in ranked, no doubt there, but there are not very many plus options there for him. So, if you're going for ranked, and I think a lot of people are, that's a phenomenal buff. Probably one of the best buffs he's gotten thus far. And then, of course, you get the Bowser's Castle 3T. There are some options on there, but much more limited than some of the other tracks. And then, of course, two 2019 tracks you didn't need him getting a buff for. And then Wiggler Mii Racing Suit. He's obviously... anytime you have a Mii suit getting 4 buffs, 4 months or 5 months or however long it's been since he was released, that's a huge plus for him, especially the fact that
we get ranked.
What's that? Double ranked feature for sure. Now, one of them is the city track. That's fine, whatever, not a big deal. But you get 2 ranked tracks, and 3 of his 4 buffs are 2022 tracks. Now, of course, Bowser's Castle R has plenty of options, but when it comes to Peach Gardens R, this might be his best buff of all. This is a great buff. And then, of course, Amsterdam Drift 3 RT. Great ranked option. There's not a lot of options. And they kind of did that a little bit with some of these city tracks. But just want to turn things over to you, Ansel, before we moved on to drivers with 3 buffs. What's your thoughts on Gold Mario, Wiggler Mii? These guys are getting the most buffs.
Yeah, so Gold Mario, not bad. Wiggler Mii is really good. So 2 ranked buffs. Even though on Bowser's Castle R, you might be using, there's a couple of different Mii suits that are top shelf, so you might be using one of those, including Gold Mii. But I think it's the type of track where you could probably get 200 with Giant Banana also. So if you're a Giant Banana enthusiast, it's definitely a nice one for you. Amsterdam Drift 3RT in ranked second week. Unfortunately, this is the last time we're going to see it this year, basically until we get here next year again. So it's only useful for this tour. And Mario Circuit R is not really useful. It's not in ranked in loop mode. It's a fun track. Again, one of those tracks where you can get 200 action with Giant Banana, so nice if you're going for ACR. And then finally, Peach Gardens R. It's an ACR track for this tour, but it is actually in the Princess Tour later on next year. It's going to be in ranked again. So it's going to be in ranked. Nice. So actually 2 current rank buffs and a future rank buff. There's only 2 tracks this tour. Well, there's actually 3 tracks in this tour that are not in that are going to be in future ranks. Peach Gardens R, Peach Gardens T, and Amsterdam Drift 3. However, every item in the game has seen Amsterdam Drift 3 since it was in the 4th anniversary tour. So we're mainly going to be focusing on items that got Peach Gardens R and Peach Gardens T, because those are in future tour buffs. Peach Gardens R in the Princess Tour, like I said, and then Peach Garden T is in tour number 90, which is the Doctor Tour.
No, extremely helpful. Good to know that Peach Gardens R is coming back in the Princess Tour, and that Wiggler will be a ranked option on there. Obviously, Giant Banana, one of the top skills in general. But when we're talking about Mii's and plus skills, I mean, those are the drivers you really want to capitalize on if you've been investing in Mii's thus far. But good to know which tracks we're looking for. These are the ones where when we're looking through, it's Peach Gardens. That's going to be the track that you're really hoping gets buffed, and a couple others, including Bowser's Castle 3. So let's start with drivers with 3 buffs now. Luigi Gold Knight, he does get the Bowser's Castle T. Those both, although they're 2022 tracks, are oversaturated with so many plus skills. So unfortunately, not to be a huge win there. And then, of course, Royal Raceway R has plus skills and coin box options on as well. So Luigi Gold Knight, not quite the buffing that you'd want. Now, I know he's kind of on the tail end of his buffing cycle, but with you're walking away with 3 buffs, you would have hoped you would have got some other tracks. Pauline Cowgirl does get that Bowser's Castle R, which is in ranked. Obviously, some coin box drivers on that track, so boomboxing is certainly possible, and you can get well over 200 actions with a nice boombox track there. And of course, I think the big win for her is the Bowser's Castle 3T. As we kind of talked about, there's not a lot of great options. I think back in the day, I mean, of course, Gold Charging Chuck, I think, is on that track, but other than that, it's pretty slim pickings. So Pauline Cowgirl, big win there for her. As for Wiggler, he does get some nice, as compared to Pauline Cowgirl, who gets a lot of these dark Bowser's Castles. Wiggler getting the friendly and festive and bright colored tracks. including Amsterdam Drift 3RT, which is in ranked. So the downside is you have both Wiggler Me and Wiggler both getting that track. So you're going to have to pick the base points or the one the one more accessible. But ultimately, I think all things equal, you're probably going to want to go with that Wiggler Me. You do have the Peach Gardens T, which is a good track for him. Royal Wasteway T, not quite as good. Plenty of coin box options on that track. The good news is, to Antelev's point, it is probably a 200 action count track, so getting the giant bananas may be helpful for you. It's not easy to get 200 actions there, but there's kind of plenty of jumps and glides and etc. that you just got to be careful where you drop those giant bananas. There's a lot of those gliding sections right after those item boxes. We do have Mario Black Suit, but he's pretty uneventful at this point. He does have the Amsterdam Drift 3RT, but I highly recommend people not investing in him, or may I say, highly not recommend people investing in him. Even with this Amsterdam Drift 3RT, plenty of better options. This Mushroom Can is just not the best skill. You guys already know that. I will say for Wiggler, Gold does get this Bowser's Castle 3R. Decent track. It's in ranked. That's going to be a great buff for him. And then, of course, that Peach Gardens R, we already talked about that with Wiggler Me, will be in the Peach Tour. Nice to have a coin box driver added there. And then we have two Moo suits. I will say for what it's worth, Wendy does get the Peach Gardens RT. And the Koopa Clown does get the Bowser's Castle R. So there you go. Those are the drivers with 3 buffs. Anything you want to add there, Antelev?
Yeah, no, just going back to what I was mentioning before, looking at the drivers who are getting future rank buffs, Wiggler, Gold Wiggler, and the Wiggler Me Racing Suit all getting a future rank buff. Peach Gardens T for Wiggler, Peach Gardens R for Wiggler Gold, and Wiggler Me Racing Suit. You have Black Mario also got a future rank buff, even though I said, you said just don't invest in them, which is still probably sound advice. Peach Gardens R, and even with Wendy Me Racing Suit, that Peach Gardens R. But other than that, no, not. I think you more or less covered it.
Good, man. Ultimately, you'll notice there's a lot less buffs. That's going to continue happening. It's one of the reasons why we're phasing out the channel. So those were all the 4 buffs.
156 total buffs, which is still a lot, but it is much less than in previous tours.
How many total buffs this tour?
Hundreds.
100?
156 buffs this tour.
156.
But I think in one of the last tours where we had new items, there was close to 2,000 new lines. That's also, of course, including mid shelves and unlocks and everything. But still, the number of actual buffs was, I think, 600 or 700 back then, and now we're down to 150.
Yeah, if you haven't looked already at that Amsterdam Drift 3RT, there's probably an 80% chance you're going to be using Giant Banana. There's a lot of options. You got Wiggler, Me, White Tanuki Mario, and Toad Tourist. And really, there's not a lot of other plus skill or other options outside of, some me options. But like they said, you're going to be getting plenty of potassium. Have to give a shout out to E. Deedle out in the chat. He's got to run, but he says Wiggler Me is a beast. 100% agree with that. I see Braden out in the chat as well. Hopefully you're doing well. Good. Awesome. I'm trying to think if there's... see Turtles as well. Good. Let's move to drivers with 2 buffs. As we talked about 150 or so buffs, 156 I think is what you said. That was all the buffs with drivers with 4 or 3 buffs. Now we're moving to the rest of the drivers. And again, this is it. It's not much happening. Blooper Me Racing Suit does get the Amsterdam Drift 3RT, and then gets an uneventful 2019 track. Orange, light blue, again, some buffs. I will say light blue, two ranked buffs. So if you are all about the Ice Flower, there's your guy. We're starting to see some people invest in non-plus skill Miis. And we've seen a couple of people in the community go for, Pokey or Cheap or Goomba. I haven't seen light blue on anyone's account, but a double feature might be worth it for you. I personally have invested into Waluigi Mii Suit. I have him level 8, double uncapped right now.
Was that a strategic investment, or was that a...
Man, you know what? Every tour I'm getting some additional... It was by the way, it was 100% out of the love of my heart for my Waluigi.
It had nothing to do with being in the Waluigi.
But he did, from that tour that he started, I think it was 2 tours ago, I had 5 tracks that he was the best option at 8 double. Again, that's what's the power of the Miis. Here's the thing. It's now up to 9 now. He has 9 tracks where he is the best at 8 double. So I'm pretty happy about my investment, and I get to use my Let's move forward. We do have two supers. Nothing eventful for ranked, but it is nice to see some supers get some buffs. Let's move to drivers with one buff. We do have Donkey Kong Gladiator, aka Spartacong, on the scene. He gets a very efficient Bowser's Castle 3R buff. Now, that's a huge buff for Donkey Kong Gladiator. That's a tough track to get to cover, especially for ranked, which you absolutely love to see Donkey Kong Gladiator get some love, get some action there. Happy to see him there. Certainly this year has been kind of ups and downs for him, but especially with all the Miis and everything that's been going on. But nice to see Spartacong, one of the coolest looking drivers in the game. We do have Toad Taurus, who's had a great year, and it finishes that off with a nice Amsterdam Drift 3R2. We already talked about it's going to be the giant banana track of the tour. That's basically your only options. What's going on, Tyler? Tyler says, took Canoe, can make up to level 7 finally this tour. Congratulations. Celebrating 17 months on the Stud fam. I see Prawn Plant Mii Racing Suit. He also gets this Amsterdam Drift 3RT. But again, plenty of other options that are more potassium focused. We have Lemmy, Morton. Do get those Bowser's Castle 3 and 3T respectfully. Both of those are decent buffs, but not in ranked. Morton Mii Racing Suit. You're going to like this. I'd be happy to find out, Antilev. Will this Bowser's Castle 3T be in ranked over the next rest of year 5?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
Let me double check that for you, but I'm pretty sure it's not. We have Bowser's Castle 3 RT in a future ranked, and we have Bowser Castle 3, but not, and that's the SNES Bowser Castle. So it's annoying because you have Bowser Castle and Bowser's Castle 3. But no, it's not going to be in ranked in the future, unfortunately.
Okay, well, good to know. So not a great buff then for our boy Morton, unless you're doing all cup ranking like myself and get to enjoy that giant banana on that track. It's not necessarily that close to getting 200 actions, but you're happy to use a plus skill there. Toad.me does get the Peach Gardens Tea. And so does Birdo Green, which I think is a great buff for Birdo Green. I'm assuming this is coming back in maybe a Princess Tour or some other tour. I will say
the Doctor Tour. I think that the Peach Gardens Tea is going to be in ranked.
Birdo Green's been a really good super for me. It's the only one that I've taken up high level from this past year. So and that's only after I maxed out my daily selects. But I just love her look. She's so cool. Birdo Red does get the Bowser's Castle RT, but again, there's so many plus skills tracks on really all those Bowser's Castle, the 3DS one. We do have the yellow Shy Guy, get the Mario Circuit T. Anything you want to add, Antilev, to these driver buffs?
What was I looking at? So the Peach Gardens Tea, like I said, Toadette Mii Racing Suit and Birdo Green Mii Racing Suit, I think is like quite solid. An Orange Mii Racing Suit getting Peach Gardens Tea, again, a future ranked buff. Other than that, no, I think you really more or less covered it. There's not a whole lot else to say here.
Hate to steal your thunder there, but for that Peach Gardens Tea, just to kind of review it, in case you weren't familiar, but it's good to know that it'll be in a tour next year. But you got Pink Shy Guy Ninja, King Mario, Wiggler, and that's about it. That's like a pretty big win for Green Birdo.
Yeah, definitely.
If you need to invest in it,
skills there. Yeah, you got King Mario, you got Pink Shy Guy Ninja, like you said, you got Wiggler. And you got you have the PD Piranha Mii Racing Suit. So if you have that one, you're probably going to be using it. But
the other PD Piranha Mii suit, maybe just the Piranha Mii suit.
No, maybe it's mid shelf and I have it with the buff.
I could get it boosted or something that tour too.
Let me check real quick.
I don't see it. I don't see when I open it up right now, but
might be boosted. Yeah, you're right. It's boosted. It's not there naturally. And I don't know what place it falls in the ranked one when it comes back. But I would guess probably not boosted.
I feel like it has to stay the same, right? Same as last year.
So. Yeah, it'll be the same. It'll be in the same position. They're literally not changing the order or anything of the cups or the races in the cups.
Okay. Alberto does say Wiggler Mii is doing better in rank than Morton Mii. Is he more oriented for ACR? Actually, I feel like Wiggler Mii is getting a little bit more love now. It was a while there where he wasn't, but I think they're both pretty equal for all cup ranking, at least from my standpoint. I both have them at at 8 triple, and I still use them both. I think probably I use more than just a hair more in my, just on my account. But again, everyone's got a little different. I have the other me's pretty well invested in. As for carts, there is just one cart with 4 buffs. That is our Monarch cart. A little small, on the small end when it comes to the hitbox, so may not want to invest in it. But for Peach Gardens RT, it's a great track for ranked. It does get some old tracks in there. The Bowser's Castle 3, not a bad option for you. We do have a couple carts with 3 buffs, including this Chocolate Mint Soft Swerve. Getting the Amsterdam 3 RT, which is in ranked. And then got the Peach Gardens R, which we kind of talked about, might be helpful in the future. Got the Gold Pipes, getting the Peach Gardens RT. Been a pretty popular cart. That's a great rank track for the Gold Pipes. But the other 2 buffs are not great. So unfortunately, not going to benefit too much from those other 2 buffs. Got Gold Wild Slugger, getting the Peach Gardens, and the Gold Monarch cart. Nothing in ranked. Anything you want to say here, Antilev?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Chocolate Mint Sauce for getting Peach Gardens R is a nice one, and Gold Monarch as well. I've played with the Monarch card on my free to play account. I needed it to get Gold Mario, basically to level up a little bit. It's not big, but it's not tiny. I would say if you're used to the Lightning Streamliner, if you have that one leveled up, it's kind of similar to that. Maybe not quite as long, but it's definitely manageable, especially with the heavy driver.
Cool.
As far as the buffs now, I mean, again, like I said, Gold Monarch and Chocolate Mint Saucer is getting that future buff rank track in the Princess Tour Peach Gardens R. Other than that, no, it's cool to see some of these items still getting some buffs. I have a really hard time investing in newer items, just because there's no new tracks where like, oh well, those are gonna get buffed on the new tracks, or they're likely to. So I'm mostly sticking to older items for my investments nowadays.
Yeah, it's not no longer worth riding that wave and just trying to
gambling. Why would you gamble on something when you can just invest in something that you know has good coverage?
By far, one of the most deflating parts about loot mode and the chase no longer being there.
It really is.
At least from my standpoint, we got carts with 2 buffs. A big favorite in the community, the Silver Cupid's Arrow, got the Amsterdam Drift 3 RT, decent hitbox, not a bad one to invest in, but that's really only the only track that you're excited about from there. Silver Warrior Wagon does get 2 nice Peach Gardens tracks, one of which is in ranked, the RT, and the T that we talked about next year will be a ranked track. So pretty big win for the Silver Warrior Wagon. We have the Yellow Sub Scooter, nothing in ranked. Chain Chomp Chariot, got the Peach Gardens and the Peach Gardens T. So big win both for Silver Warrior Wagon and the Chain Chomp Chariot. The Yeehaw Wagon does get the Peach Gardens RT, but not a big win with the Royal Raceway T. Overall, your Yeehaw Wagon, not a bad buffing options, alongside the Desert Rose Wagon, which also got Peach Gardens, but did not get the RT, got the regular. Did get the R as an additional, so that's a huge win going into next year. Again, anything that's getting 2 Peach Gardens is a huge win.
Because all 4 Peach Gardens are in ranked either in this tour or in a future tour. So
that's awesome. So big wins there. Other people that have been keeping their eyes on the Boo Pipes. Unfortunately, I would say not great buffs here. It does get the Bowser's Castle 3T, which is decent. But yeah, Bowser's Castle T, you got plenty of options, including, I think, even a couple off-roaders on those tracks. So
Silver King over there, I think.
Definitely not a big win for the Boo Pipes. Purple Rattle Buggy. I don't know anyone who's invested in this one, but it does have the Bowser's Castle.
Like if you showed me a picture of that cart, I would not be able to tell you.
I didn't even know the rattle was in the name, to be honest with you. Yeah, but it does have the Bowser's Castle 3R if you're really into babies. We do have Black B-Dasher Mark II. Does not have a great buffing this tour. I know
it is in ranked, though. I'm using it in ranked.
It is in ranked. It is alongside a cart that I think it's the Pink Comet that I already have at 8 quad. So for me, and I have the Black B-Dasher Mark II at level 8 triple. So I was excited to have used it. Fortunately, not using it on that track. That's my fault. But when you look at the 2 buffs that it got here, those of us who have invested in it, myself, Sammy, yourself, Antolev, we were hoping for a little bit more. This was not a great tour for the Black Beat Asher Mark II. We'll see how the rest of his wave continues. We do have the Gold Shield Speedster. Does get 2 Bowser's Castle. You're happy about the 3T. Not so happy about the Bowser's Castle. I think all of us were looking at the Gold Hard Hat, looking at this Gold Shield Speedster. What's going to happen with these guys? Unfortunately, it's been a little lackluster. This tour making that example. You do have the Gold Driver, which is like the Steel Driver, but Gold. Does get 2 Bowser's Castles. Both not great options there. There's plenty of bigger hitboxes there. Google Gold, nothing in ranked, neither with the Gold Beat Asher. Just like in classic Gold fashion. But Antolev, anything you want to say about these carts?
No, I think you covered it. Even the future ranked ones. Again, that's the name of the game, getting the Peach Gardens buffs.
You want Peach Gardens. You want Peach Gardens.
Peach Gardens all the way.
What more can we say? So let's see which cart's got 1 buff. A very efficient access here. We do have Blue Crawley Cart, which has been a big favorite in the community. Amsterdam Drift
nice.
3RT.
A lot of great options on this track.
A lot of great big options that all got buffed too. A lot of them are like new buffs. I don't even know what was on.
We haven't seen this track for a year, so I mean, it's not a surprise that it's getting all the buffs. But.
Yeah, I don't think we had many great big options last year. This year, plenty to go around. We do have the Rainbow Streetle. If you're not into big hitboxes, it's in ranked. So you're happy to see that Amsterdam Drift 3RT if you've invested in it. We do have the Red Comet getting Bowser's Castle 3. Not a great buff. Again, it's future potential. For all cup ranking, Mark 8R got the Bowser's Castle 3T. We've already kind of talked about that track for a little bit. Now, the Black Shield Speedster does get a little bit of a boost compared to the Gold. However, it's a track that you already probably had covered. It's the Bowser's Castle R. That track is probably one of the most notorious tracks for just being oversaturated with so many options, mostly for gliders, mostly for drivers and carts. But gliders even has a decent number of options. A lot of meta options, too, across the board. We do have the Waluigi Racer Mark II. Got a not great buff. It's the Neo Bowser City R. Blue Sub Scooter. Got the Amsterdam Drift 3RT. So that's a decent buff there. It's in ranked. Again, we kind of talked about that already. A lot of big options. Bowser's Castle 3R does get the Fishbone Ferry. So that track we haven't talked a lot about. That's a little bit more of a rarer Bowser's Castle buff. Fishbone Ferry, smaller cart. Maybe you haven't even thought about it too much, but does have the Bowser's Castle 3R, decent buff there. We'll pass through that because it got a Royal Raceway. You definitely have that track covered. Amsterdam 3RT did get the Dolphin Drifter, which when it comes to how these tracks are coming out into loop mode, Dolphin Drifter kind of being one of those riskier options. This has been one of the riskier options that's paid off. It's actually been doing pretty well in the meta, all things being considered. Again, it's not like, we know that what it's going to have. So you're really having to kind of react to it. As I'm reacting to it, I'm saying actually it seems like Nintendo kind of likes it. Nintendo's kind of favoring it. And I think if we had all of its buffs laid out, it could be up there. And actually probably if we were continuing the top 10 would be in the top 10 in my opinion. We do have Spicy Zucchini getting the Bowser's Castle 3R, which is bigger than the Fishbone Ferry. Happy about that. But decent buff there. Again, not one that people probably are investing in. And then the rest of these carts are not getting in rank. So I won't waste your time there. But Antolev, anything you want to add to these carts that had 1 buff?
No, I don't really see anything here that's needs pointing out. No.
All right, man. Hey, you know what? Maybe I'm getting a little too good at this, Antolev.
I ended up upgrading Green to Roboto because I'm doing a little casual ACR, and there was one track, not an ACR track, not the buff that it got, but where I had like all level 1 cards. And I was like, all right, I'll just take that one to 8. That's fine.
Nice, man. Well, how about this? I stole your thunder for all the drivers, most of the carts. Why don't you do this? Well, you want to walk us through the glider buffs, do a little switch up? Hey, we got nothing to lose here. We're on our way out. Might as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure I'm ready for this stuff. I'm not sure I'm ready for
You can handle it. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got.
I'm getting all like nervous here. All right. So starting off with the glider. So we had a lot less buffs for gliders than we did for drivers and cars. I'll just real quick say how many. Yeah. So there's only 42 buffs for gliders. I mean, it makes sense because there's a lot less gliders in the game. No, so no gliders with 4 buffs. But you see the ones that are getting buffed here are the ones from later on in the tours. More recent ones like Royal Flush and Rainbow Bells. Those are from the anniversary tour, the 4th anniversary tour. Yeah, so the jelly shoot. The jelly shoot's an interesting one. I think a lot of people gamble on it. I heard a few people gambling on it. It was very cute. But we got one ranked buff with Amsterdam Drift 3 RT, and then unfortunately Neo Bowser City RT and Royal Raceway T 2 tracks, which I'm sure you have very well covered, very old tracks as well. The Pink Bubble Balloon or Soap, also Amsterdam Drift 3 RT. Getting Peach Gardens R, which is in that future ranked tour, so that's a double whammy there. Some good buffs here, and then Royal Raceway N, but they can't all be winners. But I would say a pretty solid set of buffs for the Pink Bubble Balloon. Luigi Golf Cap. Yeah, it did get Peach Gardens T, which is in that future ranked tour in the Doctor Tour. But other than that, no rank buffs this tour and 2 quite old tracks, 2019 tracks, so it's a bit disappointing. Royal Flush, rank track this tour and a future rank buff in another tour. So good buffs for the Royal Flush. Rainbow Bells, also 2 Peach Gardens. Like we said, we're looking for the Peach Garden buff, so that is great. And Royal Raceway T, so it seems to be a bit of the theme. You get a ranked track or 2 ranked tracks and then a very old track. I mean, we have a lot of old tracks in this tour, but I guess it doesn't really matter anymore because, it's not like, we would always value newer tracks because we were thinking like, okay, those are more paywall. Those are more likely to be in ranked in the future, but we know exactly what's going to be in ranked, so it's not like we need to value them more. Going on to the gliders with 2 buffs, we've got the Green Emblem with Bowser's Castle R. Again, you probably have that one well covered, and Royal Raceway R, which is also something you almost certainly have covered. And the Mosaic Star Shoot with Peach Gardens buff, this is a nice one for ranked, and Royal Raceway RT, which is not so much a nice one for ranked. We can move on to the gliders with 1 buff. Oh, no, we still have a couple more, 2 buffs. Yep, sorry. Next slide. Mario Brothers Parafoil. This one came out, I think, kind of around the same time as the Mosaic Star Shoot, maybe a tour after or before, or the same tour even. So I've been keeping an eye on both of them. Unfortunately, the buffs here are not great. Neither one a ranked buff, and neither one a future ranked buff. The Bowser's Castle 3N is maybe a bit more difficult to cover, but still not that impressive. Regular Parachute, this one actually keeps popping up on my spreadsheets. It's something to keep an eye on. So it's getting, again, a ranked buff here, Amsterdam Drift 3RT. Royal Raceway R, less interesting. Mario Golf Cap, no ranked tracks, but a future one in Peach Gardens T and the Mario Circuit N. Melon Banana Balloons, no ranked buffs, but again, one future one in Peach Gardens R. Spooky Sprinkle Balloons got buffed on Peach Gardens N, so that's in ranked this week, and then these up Neo Bowser City. So it seems like a lot of the themes for these gliders is 1 good buff and 1 bad buff. Unfortunately, Gold Origami Glider has 2 bad buffs, and so does Gold Mario Golf Cap. And so does the Gold Chocolate Balloon. So those are pretty disappointing. Studfit, is there anything you want to add of the gliders that have 2 or 3 buffs?
I want to say, I think of all the themes in this whole entire game, golf has to be the most dud of all themes. Like,
oh, absolutely. There's no good golf items.
There's no good. It's just like all garbage.
Luigi Golfer was kind of good, but he's not plus skill. So
I think that's just the Luigi bump that seems to happen between Kitsune and Luigi Chef. Like they just happen to be like Luigi, and like Luigi just like is Nintendo's kind of character of the year. But yeah, golf items just absolute garbage. But yeah, I'm with you there.
The hats suck, and the trackers suck.
I'm with you, man.
True.
It's absolutely 100% true. But I mean, when you look at this slide, there's not a lot of Peach Gardens going around. So it is, just like I think these.
I mean, if I look at the gliders and I look at just Peach Gardens. Okay, first of all, Peach Gardens RT, no gliders got buffed.
Wow.
At all. And for the other ones, there's only 8 buffs for gliders on any Peach Garden variant. So yeah, and I think we've seen most of them all already. So moving on to the gliders with 1 buff, the Red Emblem, Bowser's Castle 3R. This is one of the better ranked buffs to get this tour because I think it's one of the tougher tracks to cover. It was a new track when this tour came out. It's still kind of paywalled. Wavy Great Salad Neo Bowser City, not so interesting. Rainbow Flappy Wings. This one is also kind of flying under the radar as a newer item, but it has some decent buffs, and it's getting that ranked track. Bowser's Castle 3R, maybe worth a gamble. I don't know. Have a look at your coverage. Wonderful Diamond. We all know this is one of the best gliders in the game, and it gets a rank buff in F7 Drift 3RT. That's definitely one that's well worth investing in if it's into your coverage. Glittering Glider as well. Another, I think, relatively underrated glider that came out in 2023, getting also F7 Drift 3RT. Then we got the Dolphin Great Sail, Gold Piranha Plant Balloons, Gold Mario's Hat Balloons, Gold Checkered Glider, and Gold Flappy Wings. None of them getting any interesting buffs. And hey, it's a bunch of gold items, so are you surprised? I'm not really.
No.
No. Anything to add?
No, I'll give you A+, man. I think you crushed it, man. Appreciate. Hey, man. At this point in time, we got to spice some things up.
You gotta spice it up.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Yeah, well, like, remember that one time Antelope actually had to just read things the way Studfit boringly normally reads them, and you don't sound quite as interesting when you're reading things off like that. I'll be the first to say. So, and again, that's coming from me. So I'm reading those all the time. So. Let's talk about the ranked unlocks, though. This might be helpful for you as you're planning out your ranked access this tour specifically. When we look at drivers, there's a couple options here for Amsterdam Drift 3. It looks like I see Gold King Babam, and so that's so I think there's a new way of looking at this. There's the Amsterdam Drift 3, King Babam, Bronze Me, and PD Piranha have that track unlocked, or is that what you're seeing too?
I think those unlocks are all on Bowser's Castle R.
Okay.
Right. So the only way you can get an unlock as a driver is if it's in the tour that the driver makes his debut, or that the. Well, yeah, actually, I don't know. That's a bit confusing. The level 8 unlocks make sense because those came out after Bowser's Castle R was introduced, so they could be, so that makes sense. But I'm looking at the PD Piranha Me Racing Suit. Like, his level 3 unlock should be in a track that was released, a track that was released during his tour. So maybe Bowser's Castle was in the tour he was released. So, but I think we're talking about, so all the other tracks here were released after those drivers were released, so they can't be unlocked for these drivers. So I think they're all Bowser's Castle R indeed.
Okay, got it. That actually makes a lot more sense. As for the Bowser's Castle R, there's plenty of options. You're gonna probably want to use the Gold Me suit if you have them, but outside of that,
it's a really good boomerang track too. I'm using boomerang here.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I think it was? Yeah, you're right. He's just highlighting the Bowser's Castle R with the plus skills above it, so that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Well, the unlocks,
and then some of the other ones below that. Yeah. So there are no unlocks for Amsterdam Drift 3. All of them are for the Bowser's Castle R. Again, you are covered on Bowser's Castle R. You do not need to worry about that. The 3DS ones, they're like across the board notorious for having plenty of access, plenty of coverage there. You're not too worried about that. You have the Bowser's Castle 3R getting that gold charging Chuck. You gotta like that. But that is a level 6 unlock. So if you have him a level 4, you have no idea that he's available. But he's gonna be a strong one there for you. Outside of that, nothing unlocked for Peach Gardens RT. And nothing unlocked for Peach Gardens regular. So both those Peach Gardens, what you see is what you get. And then for Amsterdam Drift 3RT, nothing unlocked there. So again, that's kind of how that's kind of how Nintendo's done this in the past. If you remember last year, they were paylock and everything, and making sure that we didn't have a lot of additional options. But for carts, it's another story. We got plenty of other options here. You got Amsterdam Drift 3. Again, nothing necessarily unlocked, but you got plenty to go with Bowser's Castle R, including some of those carts you see there: Armored Rider, Piranha Pipes, Lightning Streamliner, Tanuki Kart, some meta carts there. So you are getting Bowser's Castle R covered pretty dang well. For the Bowser's Castle 3R, less well. I will say the red off-roader, as you see there, one of the meta carts, very large hitbox. definitely one worth investing in if you need it. Much more slim pickings to cover that track, but you do have those unlocks. The downside for the Red Off-Roader, though, it's a level 8 unlock, so you really got to take it up high. You got the Peach Gardens RT. It does get the gold Cupid's Arrow and the gold Bruiser, which have been kind of in the meta. Pink Speeder had been in the meta for a little bit too, but again, much smaller than the gold Cupid's Arrow. If you have to pick one, that's the one I would go with. And then you have the Peach Gardens rank track. I will say this is very helpful. This Red Birdo, level 6 unlock. Really helpful there. Again, not a lot of options, and not that this one's big, but anytime you can take a super, take it to level 6, and you're covered on a track with a level 6 cart is always a plus, especially for those newer players.
Sure.
Definitely worth riding that one out. But nothing unlocked for the Amsterdam Drift 3RT in the way of carts. Moving last to gliders, you do have a couple options for Bowser's Castle R, which seems to be the theme of this slide, between the Cap Parafoil, the Red Fire Manta glider, which is really probably the most meta of all of these gliders. Definitely plenty of options there, as whether it's unlocked or unlocked. We do have a couple options for Bowser's Castle 3R, including the Boo Mask and the Lava Rock. So again, both of these gliders were really good last year, but the rest of the tracks, nothing unlocked. So it is what you see is what you get for most of these tracks. Bowser's Castle R, you just know you have covered. But I think overall, some of the sneakier access would come from Bowser's Castle 3R. So pay attention to that when you're thinking about Gold Charging Chuck, when you're thinking about Bowser's Castle, when you're thinking about the carts for Red Off-Roader, or maybe even the Boo Mask Lava Rock. So that would be what I'd highly recommend, is if you're looking to make a sneaky investment, it would be around Bowser's Castle 3R. Great job, Alberto. Phenomenal little viewage there. I think I was looking at the thumbnails last time. I had a really hard time picking them out. That's why they blew them up. So thank you very much. We've got multiple ranked items. You see here, there's a lot. A lot of things being used twice. I will say, for what it's worth, PD Piranha is the most used in ranked this tour. He's used 3 times, thanks to that level 6 unlock that we were referring to earlier. Now, that level 6 unlock, just want to put a little bit of water on that. It is the Bowser's Castle. So you probably have some better options, like the gold Mii suit. So PD Piranha, yes, but no. You have kind of a number of options to use twice. When I'm thinking about plus skills, you get the Dry Bowser Mii Racing suit, which I did take to level 8 this tour. I think he was at level 7 last tour, and he'd been kind of roaming, keeping my eyes on him, but definitely happy to have him. I think I have him double uncapped. I might triple uncap him because he's pretty fun to use, that Bowser's shell.
You know, he's good for that GBA battle course where there's no coin boxers top shelf, and the only other
Morton
kind of interesting Mii suit there is Morton, but Giant Banana
is not great.
I would say worse than Bowser Shell in battle. Giant Banana is really bad in battle.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, anything that's getting a lot of hits without actions, if you're getting, like, for these battle tracks, what you want to do is you want to get the skill that is getting actions without hitting the characters. Because you're going to hit them and you're going to get out very quickly. So I see Dry Bowser and Morton as not great options on that track, because every action includes a hit. And you only have so many hits that you can make compared to, a coin box, of course, or even Lucky 7, because you get the bloopers. Is not a bad option if you have to settle. But really, coin box is just substantially better than any other skill. It's just absolutely insane. But there are a couple other, skills. I mean, even like technically bubble, because you're getting like a couple extra actions. I would not recommend going into a battle track with bubble, but mushroom's a great one too, like mushroom cannon.
Yeah, mushroom. People are using mushroom cannon.
Because think about it, you're getting the actions without hitting people, and of course you can hit people, and that's great too. But you're not. It's not a one-for-one reciprocity.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I like that. Good point there. I'm glad you brought that up. A couple other Mii suits in here in the mix, but really Wiggler Mii suit is probably the top of the list. It's used twice. Got bronze used twice, thanks to level 8 unlock. And then a couple other Mii suits in there. Nothing necessarily eventful, but Wiggler's probably your best option. Probably the ranked king if you have to give any this tour. And certainly, again, could help out in future tours. Big plus him. I'm keeping my eye on the bronze. I did take him up a little bit to level 7. So I know it's a lot for maybe other people, but for me, I kind of want to. I kind of want to use him this year. Between he and
It's
Nabbit are the ones.
Bronze is more of an ACR driver.
It
He's
is.
not in a lot of ranks, but he is in a lot of tracks, like old tracks, like Yoshi circuits and stuff, where there's not a lot of good plus skill options. They're like tracks you can cover with a super, but not tracks where there's like a great plus skill me there. I think he's got one of the like Vanilla Lake 1T, for example. That's a great boomerang track also. So I would maybe think about upgrading him when you want to do a little ACR action. But yeah, I want to get him to 8 quad as well.
It's him and Nabbit. I've been keeping my eye on Nabbit as well.
Nabbit as well. Nabbit Misu as well.
So we'll see how that goes. But again, still testing the waters. We'll see how it all trickles down throughout the year. We do have Rose Taxi at the top of this list, alongside a number of other carts. No cart is used 3 times, but for what it's worth, you got Rose Taxi, red Crawley cart, blue, green capsule cart, pink sneaker, gold quickshaw, orange turbo birdo, silver flower cart. My pink comet. You got the blue sub scooter, gold wild slugger, your tiger bruiser, piranha pipes, and then you get into a couple other options: red off roader, gold bruiser, and pink speeder, which we kind of talked about in the last slide. I think overall on the carts aspect of it, I mean, I think red off roader has to be kind of one to be thought about. Of course, it's level 8, Absolutely. So it makes things tough. But Piranha Pipes is up there, and probably Pink Comet. Both of those are probably 2 of the meta options the rest of year 5.
Definitely.
I mean, Pink Comet, I invested out of love, kind of like Waluigi, and it's been coming in clutch for me, man. I cannot say. I mean, it's going better than a plan. Let's just put it that way. For gliders, we do have the Dream Glider, Piranha Pipe, Piranha Plant balloons, 8-bit 1-up mushroom, tulip corsage, wonderful garnet, 8-bit block glider, rainbow bells, spooky sprinkles, and Secret Scroll. All used 2 times. Secret Scroll being the only one that needs an unlock, and it's only a level 6 unlock. So I think overall, I mean, this is some of the meta items. When we're talking about 8-bit 1-up mushroom, wonderful garnet, 8-bit block glider, all finished the year at in the top 10. And then you even have a couple other top gliders, like Dream Glider was in the top 10 at one point. Piranha Pipe Balloons still really strong, was in the top 10, does really well for my account. And then you even have some fun ones, as you talked about, Rainbow Bells getting some good buffs this tour from Peach Gardens, and the Spooky Sprinkles, a fan favorite as well. So overall, I mean, I think all these items, even Tulip Corsage, a lot of people have been going.
Corsage is super underrated. I think
it never really broke our top 10.
It has a lot of cities, that's the thing. But I mean, in loop mode, that doesn't matter so much.
Never did too well in the top 10, but I think that partly had to do
because of the heavy city coverage, But now that's not really relevant anymore. So
I saw a lot of people investing in it. It's been a sneaky one. Wouldn't be surprised if anyone invested in it. Let's talk about All Cup ranking this tour. No surprise with all these Bowser's Castles, both the 3DS and the 3T. Meowser at the top of the list. Used 11 times. Now, I will say, for what it's worth, 11 is not a lot. Usually, the top driver used is somewhere in the 15, 16 range. But in a Bowser or Peach versus Bowser tour, no surprise, you're gonna have a lot of Bowser items. You're gonna have a lot of Peach items. In the mix here. I will say the rest of it, you do have Rocky Wrench used 10 times. Bowser Mirror Suit, which I have not found it to be as useful as the Dry Bowser, but I think I have it at level 7 as well. It's used 9 times, along with Wendy and Piranha Plant Mii Racing Suit, not the PD Piranha, just the regular Piranha. And then we get to the drivers used 8 times, and that's the rest down the list. I think the most notable would be the Gold Mii Racing Suit and Santa Mii Racing Suit and Wiggler Mii Racing Suit. Those 3 Mii Racing Suits are really, really good this tour, especially for All Cup ranking. Santa being on my list to next quad cap. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be an All Cup ranking king this upcoming year. It's doing really well, as we'll kind of talk about here in the next couple slides. And then we do have some carts used the most, including Pink Speeder 12 times, Pink Sneaker, starting to see a theme here with the pink, but used 12 and 11 times, respectively. We have the Gold Bruiser 10 times, Magna Broom 9, Blue Crawley Cart 9 as well, and Silver Flower Cart and Black Sneaker all used 9 times. Silver Bolt Blaster and Rainbow Streetle used 8 times. And then finally, for gliders, we have the wonderful Garnet. No surprise here. Used 11 times. One of the best gliders in the game. We got Sunset Balloons, Cat Parafoil. Both of those used 10 times. Spider glider used 9 times, and then Vampire Wings, Black Cat Parafoil, Candlelight Flight, and Nabbit Parachute all used 8 times. I will say, compared to the ranked gliders, these All Cup ranking gliders are a little more obscure. Other than Candlelight Flight and Wonderful Garnet, you may not have these pretty high up. The Nabbit Parachute has been really good.
It's a very good glider.
It's a very good one. I have not seen a lot of people.
It's got like 55 tracks or something crazy. I don't have to look up the exact number, but I mean maybe not 55, but it has a lot of tracks.
I love seeing it when people have this one invested in. I don't see it very often. It's a shame because it is very useful. So if you want to zig while everyone else is zagging, this one's a cool one to have. Definitely one to splash and flex in front of your friends. Cool. Let's go to the meet coverage. Thanks to Raker85. This is a great resource for you to be able to see which tracks for All Cup ranking and for ranked are used by me's, basically all drivers. It's all just focused on drivers, but it breaks things down by plus skill me's on the far left. That's where you see, like, a good example would be Bowser's Castle R. You can see DK Me Racing Suit, Gold Me Racing Suit, Bronze Me Racing Suit, PD Piranha Me Racing Suit, Wiggler Me Racing Suit. And what's cool is that he tries to put it in kind of this range that you see at the top with the skills. And then the middle section are non-plus skill Mii's. So again, kind of focusing in on, if you're going in for Mii's, you're really just kind of focusing on this left side of the screen. But then there's some people who have avoided the Mii's, and that's cool too. There are non-Mii plus skill drivers on the far right. Obviously leaving off the non-Mii, non-plus skill drivers, which I would not recommend anyone investing in really across the board. No exceptions, unfortunately. But that's where we are in the game, and that's kind of where we've gotten to this ballooning effect that's caused loop mode in general. But some really great options there. What's cool is, like, for a good example would be like week 2. For ranked, if you just want to look at that, Bowser's Castle 3R, your only option is that Bronze Me Racing Suit. For Peach Gardens RT, the only plus skill Me option you have there is PD Piranha Me Suit. And then Amsterdam Drift 3RT, the only plus skill Me option you have is Wiggler. And honestly, that is kind of the theme for a lot of what Nintendo's done with Mario Kart Tour, is that they've given, like, these Me suits, these plus skill Me suits, rarely get in ranked. But every track has like one plus skill Me Racing Suit. It's just kind of how it works. However, it's hard to get all of them. Unless you're a whale, it's really hard to invest in all of them. So if you have, you're crushing it. You got almost every track covered with a plus skill Me Racing Suit, but that takes hundreds of tickets. So again, not for the faint of heart, but really great access. All these slides will be posted to Reddit over the weekend, so feel free to take a look at those on your own time. But again, it covers the full All Cup ranking. Great job, Raker. Obviously, in case you hadn't seen, I think this was on Twitter or wherever it was, but this tour we have the Peach versus Bowser tour, followed by the Holiday tour, and then finally the New Year's tour for New Year's. That makes sense, right? So you can already go ahead and take a look to see which tracks are in those tours. For Holiday Tour, you got Merry Mountain Tea, Vancouver 3R, which if you're not sick of Vancouver, here you go again. We got also the DK Summit RT, the Snowland RT, and Merry Mountain RT. So a lot of snow tracks. So get out your snow gear, your icy comets and Ice Dozer, etc. So it's going to be a great tour for some of those items. I think Ice Dozer was used like 15, 16 times that tour. So again,
I made Ice Dozer level 8 and quad cap because in the vacation tour it was 18 times.
Yeah, man, the vacation tour.
18 tracks it has, but.
What's the over-under on 18 times for the Holiday Tour for our Ice Dozer?
I don't know. Maybe Santa Me is going to be up there with the Me buffs and stuff.
I'm telling you, Santa Me, this is a good time. If you have to invest in them, this is a good tour to do.
Definitely a good time to invest in Santa Me.
Very useful next tour. Very useful. Ranked and All Cup ranking. And then finally, New Year's Tour. Got some Sky Gardens in there, Cooper Cape, Baby Park, Cheap Island RT. Even Piranha Planet Slide and Bowser's Castle.
You're definitely going to have some items there with a lot of HCR because that was the tour where we only had, I think, 23 unique tracks, and then like all of the tracks were there twice except for one.
And they're all T or RT tracks. So
but they're all RT. They're just all RT.
Oh, they're all RT. Perfect. Even better. So
it's a trick tour, but for whatever reason they just gave us like half a tour. It was really weird.
Yeah, it's going to be really easy to keep combo, and it's going to be a lot of tracks with over 200 actions. So I've already, when I was thinking about potentially going for top 10, I was like, this would be a great tour because I could spend 2 hours on every track and get my 40, 50 hours, 60 hours max in there and get all my tracks covered. But as I said, I'm starting to kind of reprioritize my life, and I doubt that'll happen. So let's move into the coverage for the next two tours plus this one. And of course, no surprise here, we have Larry Wintertime at the top of the list. He will be in ranked 5 times over this tour and the following 2. You have PD Piranha used 4 times, White Tanuki Mario 3, alongside Luigi Knight, PD Piranha Me, and Wiggler Me. Now, here's the thing. We are just focusing on, whether it's this slide or others, just on top skills. And as you'll see on carts, we're talking about larger carts. So again, there are other drivers that might be used more than 3 times that are not plus skills, but we're just focusing on the plus skills. Really, those are all we would recommend investing in. Cool. Awesome. So here, actually, it does look like we have some smaller carts on here. When it comes to carts used over this tour and the next 2, the Cheership and Holiday Speeder, no surprise, used 5 times. My guess is they're all next tour because that's kind of how things work when you have. When you have these holiday tours, man, they are crushing it. However, outside those tours, not crushing it quite as often. Got Moo Moo Off-Roader, which again kind of came out around last year. And so, a couple tours ago, actually, last year. So it was still hitting its buffing cycle around this period of time. So it is used 4 times over this 3-tour period. And then you have Blazing Eagle, the Blue Speeder, Piranha Pipes, Purple Dozer, Yellow Green Capsule, Cheership, Cactar, and then the Taylor Swift used 3 times. So there's some big carts on that list. I think in general, Blazing Eagle,
Swift Talon, especially if you don't know about it, it's a good one to invest in for loop mode rather.
It's been a lot of people were sleeping on it, just like with the Blazing Eagle because of all cities start. But just like the Blazing Eagle, it's been just slightly tailing it. In fact, some people even find it more useful for their specific account. So definitely don't sleep on that Taylor Swift. All right, no surprise here for gliders. The 8-bit 1-up mushroom, top in the list with 5 times over this and the next 2 tours. As you know, it's already being used, I think, 2 times this tour. So another 3 times the rest of the 3-tour period. You do have a lot of gliders used 4 times, including the wonderful Garnet, the Icy's Mario Mustache, the Bright Balloons, Calico Toe Beam Balloons, Festive Holly, all used 4 times. Then you have a number of gliders used 3 times, including your Fuzzy Kite, 2 Hard Hats.
Best glider in the game.
Again, a lot of these are going to be for that New Year's tour. Gold Hard Hat, Yellow Hard Hat came in that tour, so it's certainly good for there. And then, of course, shout out to the GSG. We got the Green Sprout in there too. But Origami and Luigi Hat and Mario Hat, pretty sneaky stuff. All right, let's talk about the rest of year 5. Okay, that's really helpful. We've talked about just this tour in ranked. We talked about just this tour for All Cup ranking. We talked about the next 3 tours for ranked. Let's talk about ranked for the rest of year 5. And for those new to the program, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy while we're here. But the goal is really just to focus on from this point until next anniversary, next September. So really for the next 9 months or whatever, focusing on the items that will be just in ranked. And at the top of that list, these are all just only plus skill drivers. Highly recommend just investing in plus skill drivers. That's gonna give you the best return. At the top of the list, Toad Tourist, 28.
It really needs to be emphasized how underrated he is and how useful he is going forward.
For sure. When you're talking about 28 times for Toad Tourist, 25 times for Light Blue Shy Guy Explorer, this is a huge jump between 28 and 25 and the next tier, which is 21 and 19. So if you only care about ranked, and he even has 14 tracks left to see, which you see there in that pink. So again, Toad Tourist, Light Blue Shy Guy Explorer are going to be really strong for anyone who is not invested in Mii's. If you're a newer player to the game, these are 2 drivers that I would highly recommend you investing in. It's going to pay off for you in the long run. Again, these are number of ranked tracks over the rest of the game year, which is the next 9 months. We have the Wiggler Me used 21 times. So for those we were talking about earlier, Wiggler Me or Morton Me, if you're going for all cup ranking, it's definitely Wiggler. I'm sorry, if you're going for ranked, it's definitely Wiggler. Morton has some good potential too for all cup ranking. They're probably about the same for all cup ranking. Maybe Morton a little bit more, but for ranked, it's definitely Wiggler all day. He is going to crush it. He's still got 43 tracks left to see. Toad Tourist, he was a monster in rank this past year. He's obviously going to continue that again this year. And then Gold Me Racing Suit, arguably the number one driver in the game for the last year and a half. 19 tracks that are in ranked this year. The rest of year 5, I mean. Poochie, 18, alongside Larry Wintertime and Santa Me. Again, most of those are coming next tour, as we just talked about. King Mario and Yalene and PD Piranha and Wiggler all used 17 times in ranked. I will say, for what it's worth, Yalene and Wiggler still have 43 tracks left to see. Just want to point that out. Those are, that number probably will get bumped up to somewhere in the 20, maybe even to 20 range for these two guys. We'll see what happens. Gold Charging Chuck, 16 times. He was very efficient with ranked in year 4. We have Spartakong, also used 16 times alongside PD Piranha Misut. And then, of course, Spartakong has 38 tracks left to see, so that could easily go up to close to 20 as well. We do have White Tanuki Mario, who is still crushing it out there for being out for, quite some time. And then we have Yellow Me Racing Suit, Morton Me Suit. Both used 14 times. Morton could get up to 15 or 16 over the rest of the year between the 20 tracks that he has left to see. And then Luigi Knight 13 times and Larry Me Racing Suit 13 times as well. For karts, we have, surprisingly, the Jumbo Jetter alongside the Blue Crawley kart. Used the most in ranked over the rest of year 5, 19 times, which is phenomenal. We talked about the Taylor Swift being really, really powerful. That alongside the Red Comet, 18 times. And then Blazing Eagle, 17 alongside the Silver Cupid's Arrow and the Chain Chomp Chariot Gold pipes as well. So those 4 carts all used 17 times. And really outside of the Blazing Eagle, that number will only go up for those like the Silver Cupid's Arrow and the Chain Chomp Chariot and Gold pipes. They have a lot of tracks left to see, 24, 38, and 43, respectively. We do have the Armored Rider, which was quite a surprise for ranked last year, and it will be able to ride that ride again with 16 tracks in ranked. Moo Off-Roader, 15 times in ranked over the next rest of year 5, alongside the Black Shield Speedster and the Piranha Pipes. Really good couple tracks. I mean, honestly, all 3 of those carts I'm a big fan of. We do have the Silver Warrior Wagon, 14 times, 30 tracks left to see. We do have the Silver Flower Cart, which is kind of sneaky there, 14 times, kind of cool looking. Not a lot of people invest in it, but 13 times is pretty decent. Might be worth it for your account. Not a small cart. We do have the Gold Cupid's Arrow and the Yeehaw Wagon and the Dolphin Drifter and Red Off-Roader all used 13 times. I will say this Dolphin Drifter, I think, could get to 20, to be honest with you. It's got 67 tracks left to see, and it does appear that Nintendo really likes it, and it won't get any reskin. So it's a one of one. You got to like that. I think if you're a newer player, you want to invest in something fun, that Dolphin Drifter, I might just invest in it just for the heck of it. It looks really fun. Red Off-Roader also used 13 times. We have the Sky Blue and the Metal used 12 times in ranked. And then last but not least, for ranked usage over the rest of year 5, no surprise here, we got our 2 gems. We got the Garnet and the Wonderful Diamond used 26 and 23 times, respectively. So those are obviously topping the list. And then you have some of these items that will be in ranked, as we talked about for that New Year's tour, the Yellow Hard Hat, and Fuzzy Kite. Fuzzy Kite did take a little bit of a dip. I think that's because it was ranked a couple times last tour, which just dropped off. We do have the Block Glider 21 times, the 8-Bit 1-Up Mushroom 20, and then for the third 8-Bit item in a row, the 8-Bit Super Glider 20 times as well, and the Golden Glider 20 and Red Checkered, and then so those are all those 3, the 8-Bit 1-Up, 8-Bit Super, Golden Glider, Red Checkered, all used 20 times in ranked the rest of year 5. If you're not sick of 8-Bit items at this point, we have the 8-Bit Gold Glider 19 times, Smiley Glider, Red Emblem, Mario's Hat Balloon, all used 18 times. The Sakura Origami Glider used 17 alongside the Tulip Corsage, Fire Manta, Calico Toe Beam Balloons, Festive Holly, Gold Hard Hat, and then, of course, the Bright Ribbon. All those used 17 times. Some good ones on that list. Antlov, what's your thoughts on ranked and all these items?
I mean, yeah, you could say that something has taken a dip because it's gone down, but that's just because it has been like used. Yeah, I think it's giving us some clarity on the items which are newer items. But then we can see, kind of like the Dolphin Dasher, the Silver Flower Kart, like you said. Looking at some of the drivers that came out last year, like Pauline Cowgirl, to give you a little bit more confidence to invest in those items and maybe look less at. I mean, it depends on what your priorities are, right? I mean, I think it's really good to look at, what items are coming up in rankings because it's kind of easy to cover, exactly what's coming out. But I mean, again, also make sure you look at your coverage, look where you have coverage already. Just because an item has a lot of ranked tracks upcoming doesn't mean it's going to make sense for you to invest in it. There's a version of my tracker which looks at only the upcoming ranked tracks for the rest of the year. You can check that out and measure it against what you have. But I mean, yeah, it's look, there's a lot of items on here. I mean, just looking at the gliders, there's a lot of items on here you would expect them to be on here. There's a couple surprises like the red emblem and that bright ribbon or whatever it's called. But for the rest, we know these are the top gliders in the game, and it's not really a surprise.
It is kind of cool though, seeing some of those like the silver flower carts and stuff like that. It's like, okay, all right, I see you. But let's talk for All Cup ranking. Again, these are just ranked, again, for the general community. Those are the most important. For myself and for other people who do All Cup ranking, it is good to know this is a much bigger number across the board. But you'll notice there are some favorites that Nintendo has for All Cup ranking, and the favorite of all favorites, the number one item in the game for All Cup ranking is the gold Mii suit. No surprise to anyone who's been watching the rundown this past year, 148 times. That's right, 148 times used in All Cup ranking over the rest of year 5. The next closest, Toad Tourist, 120. So a difference of 28 usage. 28 different tracks that you're going to be using Gold Mii on than the next closest driver. It's insane. Now, I will say, kind of talked about this, Santa Mii suit will be definitely used a lot next tour. Right now, we're showing 118. After next tour, it'll probably drop to under 100. But that's just how crazy he is next tour. We have Yellow Mii Racing Suit, who has a little bit more sustainability. Again, gotta love the giant banana. It's been a great one to use this past year. Light Blue Shy Guy Explorer, 116. You have the the Question Block Mii Racing Suit and Larry Mii Racing Suit used 111 times. Both of those certainly solid investments. Again, depending if you like the boomboxing, I think the Question Block has certainly seen his great day, but still, you gotta still invest in the Mii coin boxers. There's only 2, but invest in them both. You got Toad Tourist 109 alongside PD Piranha Mii Racing Suit. So a lot of Mii Racing Suits at the top of this list. Again, if you're going for All Cup ranking,
that has a lot to do with Mii buffs.
The buffs and the boosts,
those first track of each cup buffs.
Great point there. Chef Rosalina, Daisy Tidress, and Silver Mii Racing Suit used 108 times in All Cup ranking over the rest of year 5. You have PD Piranha, used 107. King Mario, 106. Wiggler Mii Racing Suit, 105. Luigi Knight, 104. Larry Wintertime, 104. Morton, 103. Not too far away from Wiggler. And then you have, but Wiggler does have a lot more tracks left to see. He has 150. So I could see Wiggler getting up there pretty close to 120 when it's all said and done. No surprise to that. So I could see Wiggler being more useful in All Cup ranking than Morton going forward. To me, it just kind of been Morton. It's just a hair these last couple months. You have Luigi Gold Knight, 98, and then White Tanuki Mario, 97 times in All Cup ranking the rest of year 5. As for carts, let's see if these stay the same. We have the Blue Crawley card, 106, which is great for him. Again, we already talked about him. The Blue Crawley going to be great for ranked and All Cup ranking. He was the number 2 in ranked and number 1 in All Cup ranking. Gotta love that. Blaze Eagle been at the top of that list, both lists as well. The Piranha Pipes, kind of surprised to see that. That is used 97 times. Then you have the Pink Comet, 95 times. But, hold the phone, 83 tracks left to see, which is a massive number. That and also the 90 tracks that the Red Comet has in All Cup ranking with the 83 tracks left to see also make these two really, really interesting to be able to invest in. They will break 100 tracks in All Cup ranking. I can promise you that. You have the Red Off-Roader, which has not been that great in ranked. You didn't see it too high in that ranked option, but it's great for All Cup ranking. Highly recommend that. Big hitbox, 93 times. The Strawberry Soft Swerve, 91 times. We already talked about the Red Comet, 90 times with 83 tracks left to see. The Cat B, 89 times. Mostly thanks to, what is that? What battle track does it have again? I'm trying to remember. Is it the...
I don't remember either.
Cookie Land? I think Cookie Land, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Purple Dozer, a surprise one here. It was not on the ranked option, but it's here smack dab at the top of our carts option, 89 times. So, the Sweet Ride, 88 times, alongside the Taylor Swift. We've already talked about that. That's Swift Town. Mimo Off-Roader, 87 times. It's been pretty high on both lists. The Pink B-Dasher Mark II, used 86 times alongside the Cream B-Dasher Mark II. So both those Mark IIs pretty high on this list. Not as high on the ranked option. Actually, two different ones. The Sky Blue and the Metal were doing really well in ranked comparatively. You do have the Gold Schultz Speedster, 85 times plus 104 tracks left to see. Could definitely see this one breaking 100 total tracks in All Cup ranking over the rest of year 5. We have a sneaky couple gold carts here. We have the Gold Trickster, 85, Silver Cupid's Arrow, 84, Gold Boo Pipes, 84 times with a whopping 150 tracks left to see. This one will definitely be over 100 tracks in All Cup ranking. So if you want to invest it early in something for All Cup ranking, Gold Pipes might be a good option for you. Not too far behind would be the Jumbo Jetter and the Gold Cupid's Arrow. And then last but not least, All Cup ranking usage, rest of year 5. Let's talk about gliders. And guess what's at the top of the list, Anton? You want to take a wild guess?
I don't need to because I already know what it is. Best glider in the game.
The Fuzzy Kite.
It still has 4 tracks left to see, which is surprising.
It does. Well, that's because it came out in the Trick Tour, so it does have 4 tracks left to see for next tour. But again, you were right, Antolev. I was wrong. 119 tracks, All Cup ranking for rest of year 5. We'll see what happens in February once we get past that New Year's tour. But we'll see. For now, you're right. We have the Luigi hat ballooned 115 times, which is really sneaky. I was not expecting that to be that high. Both that and the Mario are top 5 on the All Cup ranking list, with the Mario hat being 112 times. In between them, sandwich, we have the wonderful Garnet 115 times, the Yellow Hard Hat 113 times. No surprise for those two gliders. They're on the top of every list. We have the Smiley Glider 112 with 48 tracks left to see. Fire Manta 111. The White Waves Origami, which by the way seemed like it had a terrible year for every single metric except for All Cup ranking. It just does really well. So 110 times there. Can't sleep on it anymore. We put it out there. We have the 8-bit 1-up Mushroom 108 times alongside the Black Star Shoot. These are two gliders I would highly recommend investing in if you want to go for All Cup ranking. It seems like both of these gliders get like some of the best tracks. I absolutely love having these at a high level, which I end up quad capping my Black Star Shoot. I just love it that much. We have the 2023 glider, surprisingly 107 times, but most of year 5 does fall into 2023, so I guess that makes sense. We have the Silver Candlelight Flight 106 times, Festive Holly 106 as well. We have the Pink Magnifying Glass. It is a green shell glider, so may want to take that into consideration. The Gold Hard Hat Balloons, 100. Not balloons, but 100 hard hat, 104 times. The Rainbow Fear Flyer, 103 times. The Secret Scroll, 103. We do have the Silver's Luigi Mustache, 102. And then thanks to some of these battle tracks, you have the Tropical Balloons, 100 times. And then the Yoshi's Cookies, 100 with 48 tracks left to see. Anything you'd like to add here, Anton? Any surprises to the All Cup ranking usage?
No, not really. But yeah, like there are a couple of items where I did. I mean, like look at the New Year's 2023 glider. That definitely was not on my radar. But again, for the most part, like 3 out of 4 of these gliders carts, drivers, we know them. We expect them. We know what the good items in the game are. It's good to see that all the things that we use to rank these items has kind of been borne out in the end phase of the game. These are the best items in the game, and we know that. So yeah, no real surprises. I do think it's pretty interesting. Some of these items which have been, or like the gold shield dispenser, for example, still more than 100 tracks left to see. Gold pipes, 150 tracks left to see. So that, if you're debating, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, gold is shield dispenser, it's a total dud." Well, it still has some tracks to see. Though. Who knows what's going to happen with it? And if you're debating between two items, still check it out. If an item has some tracks left to see, invest in it over the other one if it's kind of a tiebreaker. And you may get like this tour. I invested in the Spooky Sprinkles back when I was going for ACR vacation tour, and it popped up on a track for me for ranked that I didn't have. That it would now the best option for me that I didn't have before. That was just a nice little surprise, and you can still get some of that out of the game by gambling on not necessarily newer items, but items which have some tracks left to see. Potential buffs.
Yeah, man. Great points there. Definitely interesting to see how these items, if you think about that Gold Shield Speedster and Gold Pipes came out this summer. Like we're talking like June. So when you think about the anniversary ending September, has a lot of years still left to see. So consider maybe it's a dud, for the last 6 months. But if you look at this list and you see it, both the black used, the gold shields, the black shield speedster seems to be a little bit better for ranked, but the gold is used 85 times with 104 tracks left to see. Still a lot of tracks left to see, so I'm with you there. Good points there. All right, well, that concludes this episode. You will be hearing from me hopefully over the weekend when it comes to the survey for the award ceremony. We're really pumped about this, though we'll be hopefully airing on New Year's Eve. But the survey, we need your help. We need you guys. That's right, your voice. You will be selecting the top items from 2023. Not the items from year 4 or year 5, but from January until now. So we're calling on you. This is your one opportunity to be able to make your voice heard, to make your vote. I think we had about 800 or so people vote last year. I put out like a little soft vote for nominations. Got about 50 here just on our server. So really excited to see what this list will hold. I've already started the surveys, about halfway done, and it's actually really fun to reminisce and think about some of the items that were crushing it this past year. And so I'm really pumped and really excited to get this out to you. And most importantly, excited to hang out with you, Carlos, and Sammy on that award ceremony. So thanks again.
It's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a blast.
As it always is, but it's going to be especially fun.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys. Until then, may the friends of luck be with you. See ya.